Welcome to Cake with Care C. I am your host, Care C, along with Kinetic 100
Hey,
on the line. What up?
what's up? What's up? What's up?
Another Tuesday night in
Imagine.
broadcasting live from Toronto. This is the last Tuesday in March. I'm like, this month has just zipped by for me, literally. Like I was
Uh,
just going over some documents,
year
you're
so
looking.
far.
What?
A year.
I know. No, oh, that's crazy too, because I've just been tracking time and for other reasons. And I'm just like, how is this already like we're just months away from the end of summer, I'm thinking of my daughter and like her summer activities. And the end of summer is like 5 minute months away. Like I'm just thinking like, so we are going to have spring. Well, we're officially in spring. We're gonna go through spring, summer, and it'll all be over in about 5 months. And I'm like, how is this even possible? So it just feels, yeah, time is just moving very fast. Not no complaints. We're
Yeah.
just
Actually, I think
noting.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
want to talk about moving very fast. I believe this is our 1 year, isn't it? Didn't we start in March?
And you know what? I meant to check that. I think it was April.
Was it
That's so
April?
bad of me. You know what? During the show, if I have a chance, I'm going to go on and see.
Yeah, I don't.
Um,
I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking that was
March.
our like this was our 1 year. We started like I think it was like the 28th or something like that. But I'm
Oh,
not quite
Lord.
sure. But you know, what I mean, I was thinking about it's like, yeah, when we talked about this, and then we started in March, and it was like, I think
Yeah.
it was the last week of March that we started,
Oh,
which would
Lord.
technically be 1 year.
Right now.
Yeah, 1 year for us this year. So this might be our 1 year.
And we have no cake. Like, that's sad. I
Correct.
always celebrate. Like, that's all I look forward to. Any birthday, any celebration. I'm like, this better be good cake. And I'm not into ice cream cake and all that other fancy stuff. And cake that it looks like people played over it for like 2 days and touched it up. Like, I love looking at those beautiful cakes, but the idea of eating them does not appeal to me.
Yeah, that's
I
correct.
like fresh bake, that basic birthday cake that you get, and it's just freshly baked that morning and just like soft and
Right.
moist and yeah, I could do
But
without
anyways,
the icing. Hear me?
no,
Okay, I need a slice of cake. No, what
yeah,
are
no,
they?
we're saying, is this really cake, or are we talking about a man here? We're like, yeah.
I'd be talking. I would have gotten to the chocolate part already if it was, but no. Which I
well,
don't
well, you know
mind.
what?
I
It's
actually love it.
think I think happy 1 year anyway.
Oh my, no, I'm going to double check that during the show. And yeah, I don't know why I always think April. You're making me look bad. Usually it's the woman that has it all down pat, you see, and yelling at the man for forgetting. So typical of me, but hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Um and but before the end of the night, I will know if we should
Well,
make it
I
official.
hope
If
I'm
we
wrong.
should make it official.
Yeah, you know what? I hope I'm wrong, but if
Uh
you know what, I hope it's 1 year in a week
but
or
it's
two.
around that.
We
Yeah,
bring
it's definitely.
everybody that was involved with the show. That you know what I mean. That you know.
Yeah, well, we do have plans to check in with some people, and we've had some guests. So, just to remind everybody, we are live to air every Tuesday night here on vexradio.com. And if you do miss an episode, or you just want to hear something again, or yeah, no, forget. I was going to go into something else called a little drama, but yeah. But the shows, every show we've done so far is available as a podcast, and so you can check your favorite podcast player and go back. So from the beginning of time, okay, whenever that was, you can check all of the shows, and I promise I'm going to go on. It's just that I'm doing other things right now, but it has been about a year, and we've done a lot, and the show has changed a bit. People have noticed because I remember someone saying, "Yeah, it sounds different." I was like, "Well, it's the same people." Well, two
Oh,
out of three that we had regulars, and Miss Super Nerd was a regular host for most of the year last year. And we had a lot of other guests. And someone pointed out to me when they heard Nettie, they were like, "Oh, is Nettie back?" Because he was on for a few shows last year. And yeah, so but people are liking. We've gotten some good feedback about the the interviews and the people, and we do have a guest joining us tonight, and I'll wait to formally introduce her once she gets on the line and find out more about what she does. But so if you're already listening and waiting to hear, know that she will be joining us shortly, and yeah, we'll get into all that. Just reminding everybody, vexradio.com, best place to listen to your old school, your new school, hip hop and R&B. And I was on the site not too long ago, and you like remember, like I always push the music part of it, but they have like a lot of posts like news and tech information, like latest gadget releases and trending topics. You got reports or you know gossip and things that are happening around the world, courtesy of Angie Martinez. There's her videos are updated on there. The Breakfast Club out of New York City, and so yeah, there's a lot on there to keep you busy, and yeah, so check it out, vexradio.com, and remember, we are here every Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. and bringing you interesting people that we like to get to know, and we think you might want to get to know. So, yeah. So, how was your week? Got to ask you that.
What?
Get in your business.
There was a week. I thought it was a day.
I know. How were your few days? I know.
Yeah,
Honestly, our last conversation, it felt like it was just a few days ago, for real, for real. But
yeah. Like
yeah,
I didn't even talk to you all week. That was the whole joke.
I know.
Yeah.
You
Well,
act like you always talk to me. You check on me, and please,
oh brother. There you go.
you ain't. Okay, no, I was gonna say you're
I'm
not
about
that
to like, yeah.
thorough. You're not that
I was saying that
thorough.
you're in the bacchanal today,
Yeah.
eh?
Was like, I
You want to
gave you
start
a little
some
credit
early and
earlier.
some
I
today? Yeah.
gave you some props earlier, but now you're pushing it though. No.
Wow.
Actually, you know what? Yeah. So our first show was March 29th,
Yeah,
2016.
you see. So
Oh my
technically, this is our
goodness.
1 year.
This is. Oh, oh, see, I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our 1 year, but okay, if you and I'm
Not
like
officially
this.
celebrated 1 year. It's deferred. We're gonna put together properly and fix up.
Yeah, but no, no, no. I was gonna say I'm like this. So, it's it's about it's a year since the start, but the date itself is March 29th. And I'm kind of superstitious like that. I don't celebrate things before the actual date. Like your birthday. If your birthday was uh on a Monday, um,
It'll be the next week.
or a
Yeah.
Sun or a Monday. No, no, no. Like if so your birthday's on a Monday and you were gonna do dinner and
Saturday.
party
We
or
can do
whatever,
it.
would you do it the Saturday
No,
before, or
no.
would you have to wait till the next Saturday?
The next Saturday. I always
See,
do.
that's me. That's me. I can't do it that date because I think there's like some saying you shouldn't celebrate things before, or you may not
Well,
get the opportunity.
te- technically, the way
Yeah.
we carry on, it'll hit 12 o'clock, and it'll be 1 year.
Now, oh, no, we're so off. We're so off this before midnight. So we will be celebrating officially. I'm saying it now. We're going to be doing a little something to celebrate our 1 year after the actual 1 year. So yeah, but you're good. You know what it is because we like that we had the one show in March, so we cut
Yeah.
that at the very end. So I've always had April because we did have 4 or 5 shows,
Hmm.
about 4 shows in April. Yeah. And and so
But
April has
yeah,
always been in my
I
mind.
remember because it was just what why it really dawned on me is because I was like, how the hell am I gonna jungle the end of my quarter and do this show and everything's gonna happen?
Mm,
And that's why it stuck with me. Like it was just when we were talking about it and we said we're gonna start, and all the
mhm.
lead up to it, and then after when we started, it was like, okay, I can manage this. You know
Mhm,
what I mean?
mhm,
I didn't know
mhm.
how it, cause I committed to you, and I didn't know how I was gonna do it, but I was gonna make it happen, right? And if you recall, like, you know what I mean?
You're
It was
really
like,
trying to seem like a good man tonight. I committed to you. So,
stop
I
it.
was gonna make it happen.
Oh, yo, you're full moon out
Who are
today.
you trying to impress out there? No, who you're you're being a very, or you just sound like you're in a very good mood though. That's a good thing though. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay. What? Go
it's
ahead.
1 year. It's 1 year.
Okay, and you were at a game the other day. Well, I saw it on your Instagram.
Yeah, that's right. The
It was
Orlando,
last night. Yes, it
yeah,
was.
yeah, the Orlando Magic game versus
How
Rap.
was that? How was that?
It was, you know what? We won. We won by 20.
Mhm.
The atmosphere was hype.
Mhm.
I'm not a Ross fan, but he of course came out and played, and he threw down. He made a highlight reel, and I mean, and it was, to me, it was the Raptors versus the Raptors because
Mm. Oh
you know
yeah,
I
with Mac.
yeah,
What's his name? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Ross. There's a couple other. I mean, it's just like it was just like Raptors against Raptors, but you know,
Mhm.
but it was you know what? It was a hyper game.
Mhm.
I wasn't impressed. This is the thing. This is the thing.
Mhm.
I wasn't impressed with the Raptors the way they won because, of course, in the third they always let
Mhm.
teams
Mhm.
back in.
Mhm.
This is playoff season. We've clinched. We're around the corner, and let's just put it this way: as much as we've beefed up with Ibaka, Baka. That's my thing, right?
Mhm.
Um, as much as we beefed up with him at power forward, and we have a well-rounded team now. It's the same thing though, is that if we're playing the way we're playing right now, we're not going to make it past second, especially if we're going to play Milwaukee. Like we don't want Atlanta as usual, even though they're a young run and gun team. Milwaukee, I mean, is there, like, I mean, we've always struggled with those two teams. So we have to get
Mhm.
third to play Milwaukee. I'd rather Milwaukee over Atlanta. But at the same time, if we're playing this way
Mhm.
over 7 periods, if they don't straighten up their crap, we're not going to make it the second round. Playoff
Mhm.
basketball is a different animal. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody
Definitely.
puts with their game face, and they come to play, and we better, like, strap up our guns, and gets to shooting now, like, because real,
Mhm.
like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Mhm.
I don't care
And
if it was a
loud.
20
Oh.
point game.
Mm.
Sloppy. It was totally sloppy.
Mhm.
It was a sloppy win.
Mhm.
So
Um,
that was just like,
Lowry. So when is he expected back? And
he's supposed to
is
be coming back before we start.
just
He got
before?
his
Okay.
Yeah, he got his operation and everything. So apparently, this is just new. I'm going on like I talked to the man, but
No.
you yeah, but apparently he'll be ready in time for the playoffs. So and
Okay.
and like he better be, because Corey Joseph. I mean, as much as he hometown hero, man, I'm not a fan of his either.
Hmm. I mean, yeah. Okay. I just go off of, you know what, it's a team and certain players are necessary, and so it's not to take away from another man, because I think he steps up, but to put it all on any one, and this is why you have team and you have parts that can support, and yeah, so I don't think one man should have to be in, uh,
No, but it's
the
just,
man. Yeah.
yeah, no. When it comes down to it, listen,
Mhm.
Larry Rosen, even Ibaka, they're getting big money to produce, right? Like,
Mhm.
we got our quote unquote big three, right?
Mhm.
Um, and it's like, we have a bunch of role players. We have a solid bench. We have some role players, but I understand why we're doing it, because we are, expiring contracts, and we're positioning for Wiggins. Of course, I still think we're going for Durant. I know people will be like, whatever, but I still think
Mm.
we're positioning for Durant as well, because
Mhm.
that's when the big contracts come out next season.
Mhm.
So I think it's like one of those things where we are, we're looking for expiring contracts. We got our power forward. I think Ibaka will stay.
Mhm.
Because, like, he's got the taste of Toronto, and everybody, people are
Oh,
starting to
yeah.
back in Toronto, right?
Mhm,
Is that
mhm,
kind of thing, right? I mean, we have players that we can move and things of that nature, and so I think it's going to be, it's just that Corey Joseph has to get better because I know they want the Canadian boys here, playing on the Canadian team. So we're
mhm,
positioned for Wiggins because his contract's expiring. He'll be signing back. We'll be able to afford him. We'll be able to afford, everybody else. Like Larry's already locked up in his contract, or actually, pardon me, I think he was going to opt out and then re-sign back for the big one this season, but we'll still be able to afford him. And then the Rosens is down. He's here. So it's like, what, we got our core,
mhm,
and then we just need Joseph to, like, if he's gonna be our backup point, and what I mean, he just needs to start making better decisions, stop playing college ball and sloppy ball, and start playing professional. He's been in the league for a couple of years now, so it's like, now it's like it's inexcusable kind of thing, like
mhm.
you're playing for your contract now, like, what I mean, like, make sure you earn it. Like give us like not. I'm not gonna be just like, oh, Corey Joseph, you're a Toronto guy, so we love you. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm, mhm.
no, it's like, yo, you need to earn it like everybody else is earning it. Because he's
Definitely.
like his ball handles sloppy. He's making stupid decisions. Like he's jumping up and throwing the ball in midair. Like, you know what I mean? Play fundamental. Don't turn over balls and do stupidness.
Hmm.
It's just one of those things where I'm just like, if we're going to be, we're building this team for a playoff team. Mazai made a move for Ibaka, getting all the African brothers on the team now. So,
Oh,
pretty soon it'll be, it'll be all
for real.
Africans on
That's
the
what we
team.
do.
Yeah.
Well, you know
So,
what I mean,
yeah.
loosely.
So it's like,
Taking over.
but if he's going to do it, yeah, we know. But that's the whole thing, though, right?
Mhm,
If he's positioning for us to go second round, and eventually, he's going to make a push or a play. Like he's doing a well job. Doing a good job. He understands the marketing. He understands everything. But now it's just about rounding this team, holding this team accountable.
mhm.
Like we're not holding our team accountable. We've always been that third quarter woe team. Everybody knows that
I
even we could be
know.
up
We get
100 points, we're going to let them back by within 10, within 5 baskets, or three,
yeah,
four
that's so
possessions.
scary. I mean, in the playoffs, yeah, then that's when it is a little scary. But I have
Oh, we
to,
couldn't when I yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
what?
we put no, no, no. It's just yeah, gotta have faith though. And forget that. I mean, on our part, like I can't. And honestly, I've let go of just getting too caught up and for different reasons. You go through a whole season and you're like, oh, okay. You think it's all good again, and then the playoffs come and I start seeing some shady stuff, and um,
Right.
I start thinking, you know what? This is just a fix. Like we just know who they really want to see in the finals, and
Yeah, of
you
course,
already
of
feel like
course.
it's already built up or whatever. But
Yeah, no, we
it's,
all
I mean, at
yeah,
the end of the day, if it's legit, it's up to them. I mean, there's nothing. I mean,
yeah,
you can have all the fans, you can have all the support, you can have all that. At the end of the day, like you said, it is like who wants it and who's going to play for it. So,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
at the end, as you said, at the end of the day, though, it's like, what, if the sixth man rest of the year are gonna help Cleveland, again, because that's what they want to see. Let's
Hmm.
face it, they don't make money if Toronto doesn't get the respect that they deserve. We all know it. Like, what, from that last playoff run where we had 36 minutes of no fouls. Like, I mean, I'm surprised there wasn't an investigation or inquiry at least into that.
Mm,
And I mean, like,
hmm. Hmm.
how do you go 36 minutes with no calls?
Hmm.
So right then and there, we know it's a conspiracy. We know that, what, um,
Yeah,
they want Cleveland
the
and
two.
of
Yeah,
course, Golden State in there,
Golden
or the
State and the
Spurs,
Cavs. Yeah.
or
Hmm.
or, or the Spurs. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean that it's because that's still acceptable.
Yeah, the top. Yeah.
As long as it's an American team, that's what they care about, because they don't make any
Hmm.
money with Canadian. We have 30 million people versus 300 million or 350 million Americans. So they don't make money if it's in Canada. Nobody cares about, Toronto Raptors, going to the finals and stuff of that nature, even though it'll be a national broadcast, but they don't make that money right across board, right?
Hmm.
So that's what it's really about,
Well,
right?
I guess if you Like if you're yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, I think the bigger thing there uh, the build up and the past and then the recent, playoffs and the rematch and all this good stuff. So,
Well, they're trying to make a dynasty, another Lakers against Boston,
of
or New
course,
York against
rematch, which
Chicago. Yeah,
I
like
just think that's so is not the time for that anymore, and people need to just drop that old school way of thinking in order to make something exciting. And I think actually with this world and the way things are going and people want change and we're so used to seeing things like the younger generation too, like quick, fast and everything. And I honestly, I think if there were 3 years straight of the same two teams battling for it, I don't think I think that would be bad for the league. I think it would be such a turnoff. I mean, yeah, great for fans of those two teams, and they have enough money, cash flow, and all that good stuff to support. But I think overall, it's not like it once was. People don't want to see that. You know what I mean? And yeah. But anyway, we do have our guest. she she has just joined us. Hi, nice to see you.
Hi.
Gosh,
Sorry
what was
about
going?
that. I don't know what
No.
happened. Like, I literally was not getting any emails, and now I just got like 10 emails at once. So,
Oh, yeah, because
yeah,
I mean, I was sending. So when I hear that, I'm like, no, I'm sending. And then
I
I'm like,
know.
and so sorry. And to anybody listening and thinking I sounded a little distracted, I kind of was because I was just making sure our guest got the link that she needed to join the conversation. But Kinetic and I were just here going over some things and
Oh,
realize
awesome.
it's been about a year since we've been on
mm,
air, but we'll be
Oh,
doing
wow.
our 1 year
you're not
anniversary. So
here, eh?
Congrats.
what?
That's awesome.
I
What
said
did
you're
you
not
say?
giving it a year, eh? Even though we're one day behind, you're not giving it a year, eh?
I refuse because I didn't acknowledge it. So
We are, you know what, 3 hours away. Three
yeah, we're three
hours.
hours or 2.5 hours, right? No,
Yeah, actually, yeah, right.
but we're
Two and a
not.
half
We'll
hours.
be off this call, unfortunately, people. So we'll be bringing it. We'll be celebrating it next week. So
I think we should.
yeah,
I think we should push it. We think we should push it just for this show.
no. Although, I mean, we have much to celebrate. We have, so we'll introduce for people hearing your voice and wondering, and correct me. She has one of these beautiful, unique names that I'm sure I don't know how many times you've heard it pronounced the wrong way, or
It's
you
too
have
many.
people. I mean, my name is very it's different. It's slightly different, and so people don't know, and they'll be like, "How do you pronounce?" Like some people are afraid to even pronounce my name, so I can't. So it's Isaki. No?
Yeah, that's correct.
Isaki.
Yeah, that's
Isaki.
perfect.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
And remind like I was already asking her, but what does it mean again?
It means a gift from God.
A gift from God. I think that's such a beautiful name.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful. And I love names that sound good and look good and have meaning. Yeah. So some people just throw out any name just to be unique and
I know.
it's
No,
like
right.
okay. So, and Isaki, she is the founder. How do you describe that yourself? Because I mean, I did take from your Instagram, and so what is your role with Island Muse, which is the site that she runs, islandmuse.ca. And
Right.
so if you can tell us more about Island Muse and what it is you do exactly.
Okay, so my role with the website, I'm the founder and the content director. I launched the website in 2014.
Mhm.
So I just wanted like a space to, showcase, the amazing Caribbean women that I was seeing that were like starting businesses and, running these amazing brands.
Mhm.
And I just felt like this is something that needed to be out there because I felt like the way, Caribbean women are typically portrayed is just so one-sided.
Mhm.
I just got tired of, just seeing the naked people or the people, our girls, fighting in their school uniforms or people jumping off of speaker boxes. I mean, that's a part of our culture, yes, but I just
Mhm.
felt
Mhm.
like we are also intelligent, thinking beings. And, over
Mhm.
the years, I would just see so many different women launching businesses there. and, running it at such a professional way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, these women, these are the women that I want to showcase, sophisticated, intelligent, ambitious women, just to show, ourselves and the rest of the world that, we're not just what, is typically portrayed in the media.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I first started, it was just a way to interview these women, to talk about business, their brands and why they decided to launch it. And then eventually kind of grew into a blog where I, collaborate with other, Caribbean female bloggers in the region, to share their opinions on, things that impact us, our community and us as Caribbean women. So it's kind of grown from just being a way to just interview these women and get their stories out there and promote their businesses to, talking about issues that, we're currently dealing with and that are affecting our community.
Mm-hmm. And when did you start?
2014.
So 2014. So when you said that you started first by interviewing women who are doing
Right.
amazing things, how were you putting it out there?
So,
In that
when
way.
the idea came to me, because I'd been following these women for so many years. And I was like, for me, I just like cold emailing people. Like I just started emailing people, and it was good to know that the women that I was looking up to for so many years and, who were posting all this inspirational stuff, they were actually living up to it, because they were all like, of course, we'd love to, and at the time I didn't have a footprint. I didn't have a website. So they all just believed in the vision and, they saw the importance for it and the need for it, and they just wanted to share their story. So I just started emailing. I would just send emails.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I got my first set of women in 2014. And that's pretty much how I reach out to people. I usually will follow someone, for a while, just to kind of get into their heads, see what they're really about.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I'll just reach out and, to me, what's the worst they can say? They can just, it's either yes or no. And, you just keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I, get in touch with the women that I feature on the site.
Mm-hmm. And what makes you, I guess I'll ask you to tell us about some of the women that you featured, but but before that, like what about them typically interests you? Is it, what do you find? Is there like a common thread or?
Right. Well, for me, because I like fashion. So for me, what attracted me to the first set of women that I started reaching out to, they were just sophisticated and they were classy. And I feel like sometimes the way, us as Caribbean women are portrayed in the region is not always on a sophisticated level, So the thing that stood out to me, or to any woman that I'm, thinking about reaching out to, is their sophistication, one. Two, how they're running their business, and just how they think. Like I'll read some of their posts when they're sharing, things about their life. Are they ambitious? Humble beginnings, things like that. Those are the things that I look for.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really attracted to people who are, I guess in a way shallow. So I kind of look for a whole package: intelligence, sophistication, a commitment to their community. Those are the things that I really look for. So it's not just about shoving your business down people's throats.
Mm-hmm.
I like to read and see, do they have a commitment to their community? What is, how do they feel about issues that are currently going on right now that are affecting Caribbean women? Mm-hmm. So I'll just, that I would like.
Oops, we're kind of losing you a bit. Sorry. Say that again. Start again.
I was just saying I would follow them for a bit, and this embodies of Island Muse, sophistication, intelligence, commitment to their community.
Okay.
Those are the main things that I look for when I'm, thinking about featuring someone on the site.
Mm-hmm. And the site is beautiful, by the way, islandmuse.ca.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I love the layout. I love how clean it is. The images are beautiful. And it
Yeah.
is very nice to go on and see a collective of women um, and doing amazing things. And I've
Right.
skimmed over and
Mhm.
recognized some faces and others no. And that
Mhm.
I love about it as well. So Caribbean, when you your definition of a, or not definition, but when you speak
Right.
about Caribbean women, you're speaking
Right.
about um, which or which women. So just to
Right. Mhm.
yeah,
So when I say Caribbean
clarify.
women, that's women in the region or women in the diaspora, and that can be Asian women. We have Chinese people, people of Asian descent that live in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Afro-Caribbean. It could be, Caucasian people from the Caribbean. Like I really try my best
Mm-hmm.
to showcase the diversity because that's a part of the education process too. Because sometimes people, Black people are tend to be like the face of the Caribbean,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't realize there's all these other ethnicities that live there and are very successful. So I really try my best to research. It takes a lot of research to find some of these women, just to get a nice, diverse, group of women. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Indo-Caribbean, the Chinese, Caucasian. Like I try my best to show that part of it too, the diversity that does exist in the region.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's people and it's people, in the diaspora as well. So, we're a big community.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I notice when people um, women who are working abroad
Yeah.
or yeah, so whether like, do you feature women like before I sorry before I go into that, do you feature women who are maybe born in North America but have um parents from the
Yes.
Caribbean and have ties to the Caribbean, like would, or do you kind of like want to just stick with people who do things in the Caribbean or at least visit and love it and represent it, or
Mm-hmm.
put it out there to the world? Because I think for so long
Mm-hmm.
people would keep that in the background a bit and maybe not promote it as much because of the
Right.
negative stereotypes. And me being Jamaican, or having Jamaican parents, um,
Nice.
I think I've noticed some Jamaican
Mm-hmm.
people either they don't acknowledge it, or they just don't, not that they're hiding, but they don't put it out there. It's not something,
Mm-hmm.
if you're in social set or professional settings, let's say, they don't, some, and I mean that has changed over the years, but I've witnessed it where people don't necessarily want to put it out there. And if they do, because I've experienced this, saying it, and the first things people want to talk about, they kind of like, ooh, is it safe where you're from, kind of thing. And the next
Right.
thing is, oh well, yeah, they want to talk about weed, marijuana before,
Yeah.
and we're
Yeah.
going
I
back to
know.
before it's
And
been
this is it.
legalized. And I mean,
This
and
is
that this
it.
is what, and they're so surprised to find out, like, I don't smoke, I haven't smoked, like, you know what I
Right.
mean? And they're like, what? And so
Right.
again, and I mean, it's crazy to me because a lot of the Jamaican, I'm like, I don't care how long you've been away, like I hear a bit of the Jamaican accent, like still, so you're
Right.
not hiding
Right.
it too well. But and it's not that there's a shame, because I find a lot of Caribbean people are very proud, and
Yes.
but there is that part of not wanting to deal with it. And but my question originally, because I tend to do this, but was, do you now though, and I don't know if you've noticed the difference, but now you find people are putting it out there,
Yeah.
or do you still find there are a lot of people that may not have that part in their bio, or may not
Mm-hmm.
put that on their blog, or their
Right.
or their social media? Do you find that people still kind of keep it hush hush?
No, it's out there now. I feel like everybody's trying to say that they're from somewhere else besides
Mm,
Canada and the US. I feel like the industry is growing now. Like there's so much stuff, there's more stuff catering to Caribbean to Caribbean people as a whole, and then you have a whole industry that's growing that's catering to Caribbean women. Like I can't tell you how many,
Mm,
when I'm just doing my research and I'm just scrolling through on social media, how many different brands, whether it's fashion, whether it's lifestyle brands, they're just catered to Caribbean people, especially Caribbean women.
mhm,
So, it's not a shame thing anymore, that's for sure.
mhm,
People love to say, I'm Jamaican, or, I'm from Dominica. Like it's what makes you different. It's what sets you
mhm,
apart. So no, I have to say that more and more people are starting to just put it out there, and there's just so much stuff that's coming out that's catering to, that population that's, I guess, gone unnoticed for so long.
mhm, mhm,
So it's great. It's a great time. It's a really great time. And a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing that's coming out, it's just getting better and better in terms of, the quality, the creativity,
mhm,
and just the professionalism of it. Because that's an issue for us sometimes.
mhm, mhm,
So to stumble upon websites or to look at some, clothing lines and then be like, hold up, this person's based in Trinidad or this person's based in Grenada. You're like, what? So
mhm.
even for me, it's an education process of why am I always thinking that people can't do things like that there?
And that was another point I was going to make earlier, is to say the surprise when we find out. So if people don't
Right.
actually promote it and put it out there, and we find
Exactly.
out that an editor of a top American magazine or something has a Caribbean background,
Right.
or a doctor, a surgeon working,
Mhm.
working right here in Toronto, and knowing that she was born and raised, her childhood in another part of the Caribbean, and we find out and we're like, wow, and we're still a bit surprised by it. Um,
Right.
and but when and if you actually, I always say, if people actually travel to these places and meet people and see what's going
Mhm.
on and actually
Exactly.
see the education that they receive, which is amazing.
Mhm.
As if they can
Exactly.
afford to get it, you know what I mean? And it's just the opportunity a lot of people
Mhm.
don't have that makes the difference. But having said that, so Nicki Minaj, like she posts a lot
God.
about
Yeah.
Jamaicans or
Mhm.
dancehall or whatever, and she embraces, to the point where, though, I've seen, this wonderful world of Instagram, where you have
Yeah.
people who love it, and then you have people telling her, listen, represent your own island. Like, aren't you Trinidadian? Or why you always, and so you see these little battles, and there are still people that don't mix too well with other islands. So how do you find
Right.
that? Do you get a
Yeah.
sense of that
I
still,
still get
or
a sense of that. Sorry to
mm,
cut you off.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, no, I hate that. That stuff drives
Mhm,
me insane, and I really speak out whenever I see that.
mhm,
I hate the set tripping, this island again. Like it's so stupid. Like if you
mhm.
really think of it, like we're all pretty much the same, I think.
Exactly.
We just
Yeah.
have a different
Well,
accent.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I would
I
say,
hate that stuff drives me bonkers. Like if I want to represent Jamaica, like
Mhm,
I post stuff about Jamaica all the time on Facebook, and I always say us or we.
mhm,
Because
mhm,
to me, I'm Jamaican too, even though my family we're Trinidadian.
mhm,
But whether I'm posting something on Jamaica or Barbados or to me, it's we and us. So I hate the set
mhm.
tripping. I find that it still happens. I think it was last year there was an issue between Trinidad and Jamaica in terms of some immigration issues where
The travel,
Jamaican
yeah.
women were saying that they were being harassed, in the airport in Trinidad. And just to read some of the comments
Mhm,
and to see, Jamaican people going in on Trinidad people, and it was just so upsetting and heartbreaking.
mhm,
And, I have to speak out whenever I see that because it's really a waste of our time. And it's not getting us closer to our goals as a people. And I feel like the issues that Jamaican women deal with, in Jamaica are the same issues that Trinidad women deal with
mhm,
in our country,
mhm,
violence, patriarchy,
mm.
sexual abuse, all these things. So people online going at each other in the comments, saying, Jamaicans, and it's just ridiculous to me. And we really need to stop that.
Mhm.
Um,
what I just
You were going to say
Yeah.
something, Kinetic? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that just shows the well, first of all, based on what you just said, I don't know, Kirsty, if you've seen where I've posted it on several occasions. I try to post it without it becoming a it becomes a slogan
Big
after a while.
battle
But
on it. Oh,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, that's
okay.
one of those things that it just becomes a slogan and it
Right.
becomes done.
Mm-hmm.
But I there's a meme that I always post about once every 3 months or once every 2 months, where it says that, you know, Puerto Rican and Jamaican and Cuban, Trinidadian, Haitian, forth is a boat stop.
Exactly.
Testing,
Kind of
testing.
losing you. Say it again. Say it again.
Over,
Sorry.
That's it.
Hello?
Oh,
Okay, no, I didn't know it was that. There?
yeah, yeah. No, you're
Are we
back.
here?
You're good now. You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
And Roger Strikes.
Oh
No,
gosh.
it's based on the Caribbean islands. It lists all the Caribbean islands.
Mhm.
Am
Sorry?
I back? Yeah, it lists all the Caribbean islands,
Right.
and there's basically said we're stop being, we're one stop away from being each other, kind of thing.
Pretty much.
And
Mhm.
that really defined and changed my mentality towards the Caribbean. Whereas, it's like that. Believe it or not, that meme way that that, hey, you know what? Every one of our Caribbean brothers and sisters in diaspora are us. We are really literally the only difference between us is one boat stop away from each other.
That's
Mhm.
right.
We're all taken from the same place. We're all things. So yeah, we may sing a little different. We may dance a little different. We may but what the fact
Hmm.
remains is they're distant brothers and sisters, cousins,
That's
relatives,
right.
and so forth, right? So
Mhm.
That's
it's
right.
so important that it's so important what you're doing, especially
Mhm.
um Caribbean women are the forefront of the Caribbean in terms of business, like you know quote unquote black women all
Right.
over North America period
Right.
are the fastest growing successful entrepreneurs, and our women are the forefront, are on the front line of putting us into the next plateau or age of advancement, right? So
Right.
it's very important what you're doing. So I just wanted after stating that, I just want to bring this back a little, and the name
Right.
of your
Mhm.
website and things. I wanted to just know, like we all know, what it stands for. I'm gonna let you say it, but we want you to, or I want you to like basically tell us the thought process behind it, because we know the muse, and like we know muse is usually
Right.
defined by woman and things of that nature. But it's just I
Hmm.
wanted to process that name, what it means to you personally, and
Right.
and the history and the involvement.
Right. So, when the idea came to me years ago that I wanted to do something like this, I'm always like, I always have a pad and like a paper near my
Mhm.
bed. I'm always writing stuff. So I was like, hey, what am I going to call this? Because, the whole premise of the website was I need to interview these women to get their stories out there to promote their businesses,
Mhm.
because they're doing some amazing work on their island. And yes, there's Caribbean media and they're doing an amazing job, but I want to bring it to I want to, bring it to Canada, USA, such and such. So then I was like, okay, Caribbean women. So I said, okay, islands. And then, I would just look in the thesaurus. I love looking
Mhm.
through the
Oh,
dictionary.
that's
I'm a nerd. I'm a big
yeah.
nerd. So reading a thesaurus and dictionary is fun for me.
Mhm.
So I would just look through that, and it took a while, and then eventually I was like, muse, like
Mhm.
women, island women, Caribbean
Mhm.
women who inspire me,
Mhm.
because they really do inspire me, because some of these women, that I've had the opportunity to interview that live in the region, they come from very humble beginnings,
Mhm.
and what the social hierarchy there is like there. If you don't have the money to do things, it's very hard.
Mhm.
And yet still they've been able to build these businesses. just through sheer hard work and a belief in themselves despite naysayers, because our community is good for that.
Mhm.
So I said, this is inspiring that they can rise above and beat the odds, in spite of it all. And that's
Mhm.
kind of how I settled on Muse, because Muse is a woman, a source of inspiration for an artist. So I
Mhm.
kind of look at myself as a person who's curating and picking out all these women and just bringing it to the world, and they inspire me so much. Each and every one of them inspire me a great deal.
Mhm.
And an island, of course, because we're island women.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much how the name came about for
Now,
me.
No,
So
it's
when
it's perfect
yeah,
because I remember it was a
yeah,
few years ago, and we've met in person
yes, we
once
have.
through a business uh
I still remember that lipstick.
I
That's
know,
why I haven't forgotten you. That's
I know,
why. I
and
I,
then,
I love lipsticks. So I was like
I
that girl
know,
with the orange lipstick.
I know. And
Yeah.
I think, yeah, but even before, and so as soon as,
Right.
just speaking, and as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, I know it. And, because I had seen, and it's funny because,
Right.
same thing. I do my research and
Right.
I look for different things, and um, there are other things I was involved with. And so I stumbled upon your site and I thought, like, first of all, I think it was on Facebook, caught my eye. And so
Hmm.
even the look of it, and I mean, this, if you
Yes.
see on the screen here, people, if you see it popping up, I mean, that even gives you a taste of like what the site looks like. And it's
Yeah.
nice because I don't, anyway, I won't go on and
No,
on and on
that,
about it,
thank
but
you
it's
so much.
perfect. And I think, and it just left that impression. And so meeting you, I could put it all together. And
Together. Yeah.
you definitely represent your brand well as well.
This is
So
it. I'm
it's
a sophisticated woman, but I'm
mhm,
an island woman too. So
mhm,
we exist.
mhm.
Yes, I like to go to parties. I like to wine.
Yeah.
I'm Trinidadian. I do all that stuff, but
Right.
I'm also into high fashion, and
Yes.
I like sophisticated, nice things.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of us out there.
Which so many Caribbean women are like. And so
Exactly.
again, speaking to people and speaking to other, and I got frustrated. I remember I was cool with this girl, went to school with her.
Hmm.
Kept, contact after I left that school, it was high school, and we were friends. And she was, you know, just a negative person, like just very down on herself and kind of negative.
Yeah.
And so I felt, I was always like boosting her up and everything like that. And she was like
Hmm.
a great person. Anyway, but despite all that, I still maintained a friendship with her because I could see her heart and I thought she was great. And what ended our little friendship was when she would like go in on Jamaica. And I mean, she had Jamaican parents and she would question why I'd be going to Jamaica and how could you, and be telling me all these crazy stories about getting
Yes,
robbed and
I
people's
hear it at
limbs
work.
being cut off and just
Yep.
the worst of the worst. And I was like, girl, okay,
Yeah.
first of all, like,
No.
yeah, I'm not going to say none of that happens, but things like that happen everywhere. It happens. You just got to
Exactly.
know where you are. I mean, I wouldn't
Exactly.
walk out in the middle of nowhere at 3 a.m. by myself in
Right.
any random city without, you know what I mean? So you have
Right.
to kind of have a sense of where you are and be smart, and that applies to anywhere and everywhere. But then she kept insisting. And I said, you need to, and I was like, how about you come take a trip with me? And she's like, oh no. And
Right.
just the fact that she was so anti-Jamaica and she just kept going in like she was trying to
No.
brainwash me. I was like, you
Mm-mm.
know what? You're so
Mm-mm.
cut. Like, because I
Exactly.
I think what upsets me more is like people, and this is part of your heritage, I mean, your ancestors came from there. You have
Yeah.
history there. How you can't embrace that is crazy to me. And not
Hmm.
even, there's some who don't embrace it, never go back. They're not interested. Okay, fine. But then to go as far as to knock it and then like be putting out this negative image and stereotype, and you did not experience this yourself. So I think, I
Hmm.
mean, having these images out there
Exactly.
and knowing what comes from there and I think is such
Right.
a great start. And how have you found the response? So people who
Hmm.
have stumbled upon your site, or
Yeah.
people who you've actually reached out to,
Right.
what is the feedback like? Or
So the response has been good. usually what I always hear, like from people who just DM me or, just cold email me, oh my God, like it's so classic. Like it just looks, we've never seen anything that represents like this.
Yeah.
People love that. Like it's just different. Like we need to see ourselves in this light as well, And in terms of reaching out to people, like I can say it's been really good. I can't think of one person that I've, contacted to talk to or to interview that said no. So, that kind of makes me feel good. Lets me know that they believe in the brand. Even though it's, it's still up and coming, people do believe in the brand, because I can't say that there's one person that I've reached out to that said no. It's always been, of course, like we love this is so different, yada yada yada. So I'd say the response has been good, and it keeps me motivated and going to just keep hold on to my little space, because the niche for Caribbean brands and products, it's growing. So it just keeps me going, because I know I have something that's a little bit different, and women do appreciate it. So the response has been good. I'd say the response has been really good, like in the Caribbean and in the US as well. Canada's been good. I have some supporters here, but I guess Toronto's always like a harder market.
Yeah.
So, and we know that. So it comes to territory. But I'm blessed to have people that usually inbox me, say, I just love your brand and the way you represent us. So it really keeps me going.
Sorry, you kind of touched on my next question to you. Well, obviously you're the primary proprietor, but is there anybody else involved?
Right.
And how did they get in contact with you and featured?
Right. So the other people that I have involved, like I have women that write for me. They're like subject matter experts, whether it's on health or, just lifestyle, women that live in the actual region. So besides myself conducting the interviews with the women and writing blogs here and there, they also contribute blogs as well. In terms of getting in touch with me, I mean, people can email me through the site. There's a contact form there. And usually for features, islandmuse.ca, www.islandmuse.ca. And if you just click on the contact page, you can send me an email through there. So, that's the best way to contact me. And in terms of features, I usually reach out to people for features. So I really control that aspect. So it's not really, unfortunately, it's not really a free for all. I really, reach out. I decide who I think is a great, fit for the site, and, who I think are our readers, based on what I've seen them gravitate to and statistics, like who I think they would really, a story that they'd be really interested in reading about. So that's how the features work. I will reach out to people for those.
Who have you featured that we may or may not know of, or who should we look out for? I mean,
Right.
obviously go visit islandmuse.ca.
Right.
But who are some of your favorites? Things of that nature. Like who are the up and comers, like in designers, things of that nature. Like give us a little more. What's the content of your?
Okay. Right. So I have in my muse section. So that's where I feature the entrepreneurs, the personalities, Caribbean women. So I've had the opportunity to feature, Nika Elliott. She's from St. Vincent, based here. St. Vincent background, journalist. I featured Amanda Paris, another great journalist, Canadian girl. Melissa Noel.
And what do they do? Sorry, I'm gonna step you back a little bit. When you name them, then give us what they do,
right.
and
Okay. So Nika,
like up to them kind of thing. Give us a little background story.
Right. So Nika Elliott, she's a journalist. who works on a local television. He used to work on a local television station in CP24.
Mm-hmm.
And, ever since she came across the screen, I'm like, oh my God, an island girl, because she had an accent.
Mm-hmm.
She had an accent. It was very obvious. And I've always admired her. I mean, Nika, again, sophisticated, classy, intelligent, and she's an island girl. She had her accent. So for me, I was like, this is somebody that I'd really like to pick her brain and talk to her, because I like the way she carries herself, and she's had her career, and then she's also tried, she's doing her entrepreneur thing. So, last year I just reached out to her, and, she was so nice, and we just started, talking, and then eventually we did the interview, and it was great. I wasn't surprised by, some of the things I learned about her. She is a strong, confident, intelligent woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I did enjoy, her interview. I've had a chance to, interview other TV personalities, women who are based in the States of Caribbean heritage. Chardell Moore, another amazing, just ambitious, she's just always going. She's from Dominica, and she's so proud. And I think what attracted me to her is, like, there's no guessing where she's from, even though she's based in the States. And I was born in the US, so I know how it is. You're always American first.
Of course, yeah.
But with her, it's like, as soon as you get onto her page, it's like Dominica, so you just know where she's from. So I was like, oh my God, she's, I just love the fact that she's so proud, where she's from. We have Kara Dinell, some people who are on the, the Caribbean entertainment scene here in Toronto might be familiar with her, another Trinidadian girl who's just always, she's always on the go doing different things. I love the fact that she's not afraid to try different things. You'll see her doing photography here one day, marketing another day, then she's doing a fashion show, So when I saw that, I'm like, hey, I have to talk to this girl, because I'm like, I have to figure out what drives her and how she finds, the time and the inspiration to get involved in all these different things. And our interviews are mostly, we talk about, of course, who they are, their career, but we talk about, culture, what is it that you like about, being Guyanese or being, Dominican? What are some things that you wish Caribbean women knew? What are some words of inspiration for Caribbean women? What are some issues that are currently impacting us that, it keeps you up at night? Talking about things like that. And I think whenever I've got an email from a reader, they're like, we like the fact that, we feel like we can identify with these women, because I'll ask them, like, what's your favorite place in Guyana? And depending on what people say, oh my God, like, I grew up there, or I like going to Seawall on Sundays, or, stuff like that. So that's the interviews for the women. And then I have, like, health and well-being. So I have some women who are based in Barbados, and that's working with them has been an eye-opener. Because we know what the healthcare system is in the Caribbean. It's not the greatest if you don't have money. And then they're talking about one of them, she has a chronic illness, endometriosis. And just talking about her experience of having an illness and being within the Caribbean context as a Caribbean woman. It's like a double whammy, so to speak. I'm sick, there's no cure for my illness, and I have to deal with, the judgment of my community. I have to deal with lackluster healthcare service. So when I write about stuff like that, and you see people saying, oh my God, I have endometriosis, or I have this issue as well. And, it's so frustrating here, trying to build awareness, trying to get the government to put funding into, better healthcare for us. That's when I feel like I'm really making an impact with the site, when I talk about issues like that, And
That's
of course,
amazing,
we do the fashion, because, people love the fashion and the carnival and stuff like that. But I mean, the main thing about the site is, the interviews, and just for it to be a positive space for us to connect and to read our stories. These are not people that are just so beyond reach. These are,
Definitely.
people like me and you who are just deciding to do things a bit differently, despite the odds that are, sometimes stacked against us when we live in places like the Caribbean, especially as women,
Hmm.
So that's some of the stuff. I mean, my favorite interview is very hard. Like all the women are so different.
Of course.
But I'd have to say my most recent one with Melissa Noel. She's an award-winning Guyanese American journalist. I mean, she is just so bubbly,
Mm.
and you see why she's so successful. And that's one thing that I was able to learn just by talking to. It's so obvious why because they're so driven, and they push forward no matter what.
Hmm.
Whether it's bad mind or people just trying to pull you down. They're like, we just keep going,
Hmm.
regardless of whatever it is, and we're proud to be island women too, and because it shapes who we are, and it shaped our outlook, and it shapes the reason why we work so hard to get to achieve a certain level of success.
Hmm.
Our heritage demands that.
Definitely.
So this is why they are where they are, and that's why they inspire me so much, because I can see myself in them. And my heritage being Caribbean, like Trinidad, it fuels me. This is why I keep going. Like I can't stop. I
Yeah.
have things to get done,
Right.
and I can't just roll over and be like I can't. I have
Just
to
stop.
keep going.
So more about you and
Right.
so you were born where?
I was born in the U.S., New York.
Oh yeah, you did say that. Jeez, okay. Because
Yeah.
I was okay, so you were actually born there. So did you ever
Yeah.
live in Trinidad at all?
No, but I'm more Trinidad than my rest of my family. So
Mm,
I used to go there all the time as a kid, like every summer. School's
okay.
out. I usually go. I used to go quite often,
Hmm.
because my mom, all her family lives there.
Hmm.
So for me, I'm more Trinidadian than everybody else, but
Hmm.
I'm not actually born there.
Yeah. Um,
But I think that's what shaped my appreciation for the
yeah.
region. Like I've never been cut off from it. My mom's always taken me there.
Yes.
I've always met with my family, and I've always appreciated the fact that I'm a little different. Yes, I'm American, but I'm a little bit different,
Hmm.
and that's okay.
So how did you end up in Toronto? How much of your life did you spend in New York?
So I spent the first 9 years there,
Oh
and then
wow.
I
Okay.
moved here. My mom got remarried,
Mm.
and my stepdad was like, "There's no way I'm living in that country."
Oh
He
wow.
refused. He's
Wow.
like, "That place, standard of living is horrible." We were like, "What's up with this guy?" Because when you're in New York, like you think you are like at the center of the world.
I was about to say that same,
So
yeah.
yes, we're like, this man is so miserable. So when we moved here, we looked around. We're like, no wonder he didn't want to move there, because it was so. I mean, the standard of living here, it was nice buildings, clean streets, and we're like, no
Hmm.
wonder, no
Mm.
wonder he refused to live there.
But was it
So
hard? I mean, at that age,
it
you
was
have your
hard.
friends and
It
yeah,
was hard. I
yeah.
I remember feeling a little depressed. If I could even know what depressed was at nine,
At that,
10,
yeah.
it was different, because in New York, there's always something like on the streets in the
Yeah.
summer. There's music playing. People are outside. And I remember we moved here, and like, there's nobody on the streets.
Hmm.
It was so
Hmm.
quiet, and nobody would be hanging out like in New York. The men are hanging on the corner, like.
Hmm.
And we're in Brooklyn, the mecca for West Indian
Oh God,
people.
yeah. Yeah.
So Flatbush is just, if you've ever been on Flatbush, I mean, that's
Yeah.
us. We're just
It's
up and down the
live. Yeah.
place, loud, and you get used to it. And then you come here, you're like, where are the black people? Because when
Yeah.
I came here, we were in Toronto, and not seeing any black people. Everyone's like, oh, they're in Scarborough, or you gotta go Eglinton West. And then we go to Scarborough, and I still feel like I'm not seeing them because it was just so
Enough.
suburban.
Yeah.
So I was like, at first, I was like, oh, I don't like this. But as the years went by, I realized it was the best decision that
Mm,
we ever, like, I love it here. It was the best decision we could have ever made,
nice.
so, but it was
And
an
then
adjustment.
your memories of Trinidad. So you said you'd go there quite often. So
Yeah.
and was it seeing women there, or I mean, did that part of it
Right.
Did you notice it at that young age, the strength of women, or
Mhm.
you know, the uniqueness, the beauty of it? Did you see a difference at that age, or
Right.
not really? Was it something that happened later on?
I think the way that impacted me was
Mm,
the strength of the people.
mm,
Some people are living in board houses, some people are in zinc,
mhm,
and they're still so proud
mm,
and they keep
yep,
going and they make a way no matter what. So every time I go there and just look around, and the people are just so full of life, and the culture and the food, and that, I think that's what that part of it, like our work ethic,
mhm,
is what impacted me from such a young age,
mhm,
is that we can be in these conditions, and we're not giving up, and we still have our pride,
mhm,
and we're still pushing forward no matter what. And we know we can't always depend on the government, so we're going to make a way for ourselves, no matter what. So that part of it, and then of course the women, like my grandmother and my aunts, very strong, opinionated women.
mhm.
So seeing them at a young age, and how much they were able to accomplish, and that all of that just showed me that we are unique people, and it's just this, there should be no shame in our game.
Mm. And I can
Vibrant.
relate, going to Jamaica
Hmm.
as a young child, like, because I went a few times when I was young and loved it.
Hmm. Right.
And I do remember seeing my aunts or my mom's cousins, the elders, that were around me, and even my cousins that were a little older, and seeing women
Hmm.
balance so much and do so
Exactly.
much, and so do things in the home, but then still have this strength and still be able to talk to their husbands or talk to their partners, how,
Right.
you know what I mean, without
Mhm.
feeling shy or backing away. And so you always feel like, damn, these women could, like, they could take anybody on, and they're going to talk.
Yes.
And it was the voice, the power of their
Yeah.
words, their
Hmm.
posture, everything was just amazing,
Hmm.
like being out with them. And then taking care of their home, taking care of their children, like cooking, doing everything they
That's
had to do.
right.
And then seeing these women get dressed up and get the children all done up and
Exactly.
clean, and then so you see them all pretty up now, and
Exactly.
smelling fresh and looking good, and you're like, wow. So it's, you know what I mean? And then you get
Yeah.
the other part of it where it doesn't matter where, like you said, it doesn't matter what type of dwelling, where they live, how they're
Hmm.
living.
Hmm.
There is a pride
There's a
in
pride.
that, and there's
Right.
this, I am a person, I am worthy, and I
Hmm.
carry myself in such a way. And so I think that is
Exactly.
something that gives, it's another dimension, it's this power that, like, these children are born into, almost, to see this
Exactly.
strength in these people around them, especially the women raising them. And
Yeah.
then you pair that with like a great education, and it's almost like you can't stop these women. And so
You can't.
growing up, as I was getting a little older,
Right.
I envied, and I thought, I wish I spent the first few years of my life in Jamaica. I think that would have
Yes.
added something to me. I think it would have
Right.
given me a slight edge in a way,
Hmm.
and then still have, a great education, and then, then if I moved abroad, and then having that part of it to balance it out.
Right.
But yeah, so no, I had a question in there, and I
Yeah.
kept rambling on and on and on. But so when you decided to create the site, did you did you ever consider, because we've been focused on women, did you ever consider featuring men, or did you ever think of men
Hmm.
with because there are great examples of men
Right.
doing amazing
Right.
things in the
There
Caribbean
are.
as well.
Hmm.
And I know we're very focused on women, but did you ever think, or how did you come to the decision to just
Yeah.
make it about women?
I never thought of men. I never
Okay.
thought of them.
Okay.
Not that they're not great,
Hmm.
but I just felt like the Caribbean is a patriarchal society, And women, we suffer the most there because of it. I just feel like if we can see ourselves in a different light and just see ourselves doing something different, it can change our mindset. And then the men will have to, respect us, or, whatever it is, treat us differently. So for me, I always feel like the women needed the empowerment. Not that the men don't need empowerment, encouragement, but I just feel like the women really need it. So they can be seen in a different way. Like, we're not just sexual objects. And sometimes that's how we're marketed in the Caribbean. We're just here. My worth is based on the way I look, the way I dress, how good I am in the bedroom. And that's it. And that's not it. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I'm like, women in the Caribbean really need the empowerment and the encouragement. We have to see ourselves doing and being something different than what, society or, the music or men tell us that we should be doing. So it's not that I'm just looking to sleep with someone for money. No, I can run a business. I can have a business. I'm intelligent. I'm opinionated. I can have a conversation. And yeah, I look great too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for me, it was a no-brainer. It had to be women because, when you look at the statistics in the region, and, of course, it's, not necessarily any fault of our own, but the violence against women, I don't know what's going on in the brains of men there. I don't know if the music has warped people's minds, but it's like everybody's kind of, trapped in this kind of one way of thinking. And, again, images are powerful. We need to see ourselves in a different light. So that's why I decided it would be a platform that would feature our women. Because I think, when you look at the women of a society, that kind of tells you a lot about that society.
Definitely. Like Kinetic was
So
saying.
that's why for me, it was women.
I have a question, but I want to allow Kinetic just to get back to like the timeline. Go ahead.
Yeah,
no, I just wanted to kind of, I'll let you go ahead because I want to go back to kind of the things of that nature. So Karen, why don't you go ahead?
No. I was just saying, so then when did you, going back, I know you launched in 2014, but when did you first start? So you're here in Toronto, you've been to Trinidad, you love it, lived in New York. So, but when did you start? Like, if you look back, when was the beginning or the first signs of wanting to do this, do you think?
It was 2011. I had a WordPress blog. And I was just kind of writing stuff about the Caribbean, about carnival and costumes. But, I wasn't like consistent with it. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on my career in finance. So I kind of dropped in. I was like, okay, I'm going to be, a finance career lady. And then I couldn't sleep for 3 years. I could not. It was just like, you need to do the website. You need to do this. You need to do this. Like, everywhere I turned, like I would, be on a website and I'd see something, I'd be like, oh my God, another Caribbean brand popping up. And I could not, it wouldn't leave me alone. So for 3 years, I was being tormented by the fact that I need to be doing this platform. And then finally in 2014, I just, I got the domain name and I just started, I said, let me just do this because I'm never going to sleep again if I don't. And that's when I started, taking it more seriously. But it happened, the seeds were from 2011, 2010, 2011, when I just started following these women and just, seeing what they were doing and just being in awe of, the work that they were putting out and the way they were representing for our culture. And so then in 2014, that's when I decided that it's time. It's time to really get this thing going. And
no, okay, and that's a big decision to make because, like I've mentioned on the show here, I've started a lot of things, or I've had ideas, a lot of ideas, and but one of the things I remember early on was, you question, like, okay, who am I to be doing this, and or who am I, what do I have, or what's the value, like what value do I bring, type of thing. Like, sure, it's a great idea, but maybe for
Right.
someone else to do it, or it's a
Right.
great thing, but I'd love to see someone else do it. And I
Right.
hear, you mentioned that you would reach out to these women, so you see these women
Mhm.
doing amazing things. Not that
Right.
you're not amazing in your own right,
Mhm.
but you're thinking, you pick up the phone and call them, and you're thinking,
Right.
okay, well, I'm not calling from Essence, like, so you know what I mean? Then you start wondering, like, okay, or did you, I mean, I'm putting
Mhm.
that on you, like, you probably didn't, but did you ever have that, or and how, if so, how did you get past that, um
Right. Hmm. I think for
seems
me,
like you did. Oh.
confidence, just believing in what I'm doing. Like I just feel like the work I'm doing is so important, So when
Mhm.
I just decided to reach out, I just said, you know what, let me ask. And you get to kind of study people after a while, like, following these women for years on their social media platform. I think at the time was like Facebook. A few of them had blogs, so I'd always be reading.
Mhm.
And you get to see, the kind of people they are.
Mm. Mhm.
So that gave me a lot more confidence, because they came across as very genuine people who really wanted to see, the Caribbean community, uplift ourselves.
Mhm.
So that gave me the confidence to be like, I'm going to reach out to them. But yeah, whenever I'm reaching out to anybody, I just feel like my brand is just as good as any other.
Mm.
And it's either a yes or no, and that's people's prerogative, to
Mhm.
say yes, I'd love to, or no. But I just ask anyways, because it's not a big deal if someone says no.
Mm.
So, and I believe so much in what I'm doing, so it really fuels me. I don't really take anything personally,
Mhm.
in that aspect, because I really believe that I have a great thing. And I really just want to see Caribbean women living their best lives.
Mm.
And the women that I've featured on the site feel the same way. They want to see us living our best lives and being more than, what mainstream tells us that we are.
Mhm.
So for them, they just think it's really important to be a part of something like this and to share their thoughts on,
Mhm.
these issues that are affecting us and our community as a whole.
And so what to date has been like the hard, like, I guess the
Mhm.
biggest struggle for you with this site, if any?
Right. For me, the biggest struggle with the site is the consistency. And the
Mm.
consistency is hard. It's because I juggle a demanding career in
Mhm.
finance, and then I'm doing a course. So just
Oh,
finding
wow.
consistency, because you got to keep going with this. Like, I look at there's some women in the city that I'm just in awe of, and I'm so inspired by. I think the Black Foodie is one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, that girl is a machine, and
Mhm.
she does not stop.
Mm.
And that's what it takes. That's what it takes. When I do, I've seen her at a few things, and we've had the chance to talk. That's what it takes. So consistency is always a challenge. And I guess just finding, just being able to carve out your own space. There's so much noise on social media.
Mm.
There's so much
Definitely.
noise. So being
Yeah.
able to carve out your own space, because there's a lot of blogs, like I was saying, that's catering to Caribbean women now. There's new
Mm.
ones popping up all the time.
Mhm.
So being able to maintain my niche, maintain my little space in the niche while sticking to what my brand represents. Sometimes you wanna, you'll see something trending. You're like, oh, you want to repost it because you're seeing the numbers, and you're like, this is not really what my brand represents. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then finding the images too.
Mm.
Good images of us, because sometimes the stuff that's out there is just like, oh my god, it's the cliche stuff.
Mhm.
So that's the hardest thing for me, is, but like I said, I just can't give up on it,
Mm.
and I keep going. But consistency, because I see when you're constantly hammering away at something, the results are always there.
Mhm.
And I've been able to see that from some other bloggers in the city that I look up to. they keep at it, chugging
Yes.
along.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very consistent with what their brand represents, so that people aren't confused, because sometimes you get kind of all over the place
Mm-hmm.
and people are like, I don't even know what this is anymore. So sometimes, I was talking to another blogger the other night. She's like, oh my god, I got you got to go back to the drawing board. Like, what am I trying to tell these people?
Right.
Because I'm all over the place, posting palm trees today, and this woman, like, it's too much. Like, people don't know what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
So branding is key,
Mm-hmm.
and just understanding what is it that people want to see. That's what I'm always asking myself. What do Caribbean women want?
Mm-hmm.
And I try to make it my goal to provide the information
Mm-hmm.
um
No,
to them.
it's a lot of work. I had
It's a lot of
a
work.
site up, and
Right.
it's so much to maintain, and
Yes.
you put all your time into it, especially if you're a perfectionist and you
Girl,
want things right.
for
And
me,
then
I
if
am.
you
Yep.
so if you don't see, and I can imagine in the early days, and I guess this is more of like picking your brain for advice for anybody
Yep.
listening that maybe
Yep.
wants to start or has already started and maybe doesn't
Hmm.
see things going exactly how they anticipated it, or
Hmm.
you know
Right.
think of quitting. um Dealing with that. So putting all this time and making something beautiful and putting it out there, and then not
Hmm.
getting the response you
Right.
expected. What kept you going? Because I'm sure, as beautiful as Island Muse looks right now, islandmuse.ca, I'm sure in the beginning,
Yeah.
you
Oh man.
had moments like most people
Right.
starting
Yes. Oh
anything, right?
yes.
It's
Oh
not,
my God.
it doesn't
Yep.
blow
Hmm.
up exactly as we I
Yeah.
hope. But what's your advice for pushing through that and to
Right.
continue? And I know it drives you, um,
Hmm.
but
The
yeah.
advice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure it's your passion, because that's what's going to
Mm-hmm.
keep you going. Like, if I didn't have a genuine passion for the health, well-being, happiness, advancement of Caribbean women, I would have given up on this a long time ago, because I would have been like so frustrated. Like, how come I'm not getting the likes? How come people aren't reading this stuff? And blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure it's your passion, because that's what's going to keep you going when you put your all into something and release it, and people, you don't really get the response that you thought you were going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure it's your passion. So that's always what, I tell everybody, because that's what's going to keep you going. And that's what keeps me going with Island Muse, because I feel, to me, in my head, it's needed,
Mm-hmm.
and it's critical. It's a needed platform for, Caribbean women, and it's my passion. And I really do feel like I have something to offer to the community. So that's what keeps me going when I feel like I just can't. I don't know what else to do to
Mm-hmm.
get these people's attention.
Mm-hmm.
It just falls back on, I'm passionate about it. So even if I'm writing to, 10 people or whatever, that's what it is. And then it's just up to me to, go back to the drawing board and just find other creative ways to connect. Find ways to connect with the audience, see what it is that they want, and produce it and give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
It
It's really
all it all boils down to passion. Yeah.
what's really funny is about touching on the subject of likes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this is and you know what? Any content that is worth it
Hmm.
or is full of what I call sense. That's not catering to
Not hearing you. Can I? Sorry. Maybe it's
this or
just.
saying that in the terms in the no.
Okay. Didn't hear
Can you
that.
hear me?
Yeah. Now you're
The
good.
saying is strip. I'm putting that in quotes.
Right.
Stupidness, but strippiness as what
Uh-huh.
would say. Um, will never garner or likes. Anything that is worth it is always getting attention. For some, a lot of that information
Hmm.
doesn't get popular. It's not popular, but it's needed content that.
Right.
So when you see that you post something and it doesn't get a lot of attention,
Right.
you know you're on the right track.
I
For
like that.
now, until the numbers support it. It's funny because my sister and I, we were speaking earlier, and it's the same
Yeah.
thing. She was
No,
on Instagram scrolling and said, she's like, it's so annoying. These people post the same things. Like if one, celeb, she posts something on her page, and everyone feels they had to like send the same thing out. And my sister, she just had a moment. She was like, no, we can go to her page and we'll see. And we'll follow her.
Right.
And then I said, exactly, but this is like the easiest way. And I've had this talk to people about content and what catches. And it's amazing. You see these sites with like 30,000 followers, 20,000 followers, and they're
Yeah.
basically reposting stuff that every other entertainment site posts. And it's like,
Exactly.
and it's just crazy to see that this is what people still continue to support
Exactly.
and gravitate towards. And I'm like, you kind of do like a little shake your head kind of thing, because
Right.
you're like, is this what people really just always
Right.
want, or is it just they're just so programmed
To
to
think that that's what they want.
to follow that just because
Mhm.
it's got to be something to follow. And I saw this other guy post, and I get what he was saying. So he posts that. He's like, well, this is the reality of the world today. And he said, he's in the music industry. And he said, if you send me something, you send me on
Mhm.
your Instagram, and first thing I do is I check your page. And if you have under X amount of likes for that
Oh my
post, I'm not
God.
even looking at it, because I mean, that's what it's all about nowadays. It's about people liking. And I thought, no, if you
No,
are someone
exactly.
who has an ear for something, and you're
Exactly.
supposed to be the person that says, no, this is what's next, not what's
Mhm.
now, because that's what people
Mhm.
will like, is what's now, what sounds like, okay, it sounds like it should be on the radio. It sounds like I should be listening to it. It sounds like it should be in the club. If you're in
Right.
the industry, or you are supposed to be able to say, okay, what's next? Like, what's the next? So what should we
Exactly.
be in the studio working on now? And this is what's next up. And I
Right.
think it's so easy. Sorry. I mean, anybody
Mhm.
could sit there and repost everything that everybody
Exactly.
posts and get likes for it. But yeah, so
Mhm.
I think that we can't say that enough, like what Kinetic just said
Yeah.
about reminding people that it really isn't about the likes. But as a business or anybody, you are going to gauge things. You're
Of
always wondering,
course.
am I connecting? Am I connecting?
Right.
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 Mhm.
Yeah,
But I think
definitely.
but I think going back to what you said as well, just knowing what you're putting out there is amazing content. And the beauty of the internet and what we have so far is what's posted today. Someone might read it a month from now or 2 months from
Right.
now, and it might change their life. You know what I mean? And
That's it. Yep.
especially if you think of young women
Mhm.
reading it. And um, I just have to ask,
Mhm.
I know it's a lot about building up Caribbean women. So do
Yeah.
you find though that it's something that, a lot of women abroad find inspiration in, and it's making changes with people um, outside of the Caribbean,
Mm.
um, off the islands, that type of thing, and women who are not of Caribbean descent, do they still, I don't know how, if, I'm sure not everybody that goes to the site will
Right.
will reach out to you, but
Right.
in
Right. Right.
your experience, and I mean, we were out at an event, a social event, and I'm sure,
Yeah.
there were women there that weren't were not of Caribbean descent. So do you
Mhm.
find that
Mhm.
other women read and find inspiration from it as
Mhm.
well? And do you have other women in mind as well, and men? Maybe no, and I mean
Right.
changing their opinions and showing them that no, this is not all women are for the other.
Right.
Like, do
Exactly.
you see
Mhm.
your content doing that as well?
I see myself eventually introducing men into the mix in some sort of in some kind of, not right now,
Mhm,
maybe
mhm.
just for like discussion purposes.
Mm,
bringing them to the table to discuss, issues, relationships, yada, yada, yada.
yeah.
But I still see it very much being a platform that's, geared towards women.
True. Okay.
Because again, I think, it's a major issue for,
Mhm.
the plight of women in the region. It's something that, sometimes really does bother me.
Mhm.
In terms of whether other women from outside of our community, I'm not sure. I would hope it's something that people can look, learn, get themselves, become educated on some of the things that are happening in the region, the positive things,
Mhm.
especially. I think that's why it's important that, Caribbean bloggers, it's important that we tell our story as
Mhm.
opposed to having other people tell it, because we get to frame our story in the way that it should be framed. You're not just going to come in and tell me that this is what, oh, I'm a criminal, and it's kind of the
Mhm.
way, you know, that they sometimes, frame our community, criminals. And that's why it's important for us to narrate our story.
Mhm.
So I would hope that it's something that, women that are outside of the community, that are a part of other communities, can come and learn from and enjoy the culture. Um, but yeah, it'll still be geared towards women. And I do plan on introducing men. I want to do a series where, we bring men to the table and we talk about relationships. We talk about, the prevalence of violence in the region. We talk about the music and how it can be detrimental
Mhm.
to, to the young people in the region.
Mhm.
Because I think the music has a huge part to play in it as well. Um, I probably didn't realize that until recently. Because, you just listen to things and, you get
Mhm.
so used to it because it's part of the culture.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
think over the years, I'm like, what are these men really saying? This is like, this is
Mhm.
not so great anymore.
Mhm.
This the dance hall that I remember, that I grew up listening to in the 90s. I mean, it wasn't church music, but it's like gospel now compared to some of the stuff that's out. It's like,
That's
what are
out
these
there.
men really telling our young girls to do?
Mhm. Mhm.
What are they really telling our men that, how they should be treating young women?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think that's an opportunity for me to bring men into the discussion.
Mhm.
But
And I
for
think,
now,
yeah, I
it's
think
just
that is
all
important.
women.
And I would hope that men do see, and I'm sure they do, will come across
They
the site
do.
and see women in a new
Right.
light or in a different light than what, like you said, is promoted a lot.
Right.
And and then giving these young women, seeing having these young women look up and say, okay, this is an option for me, or this is a way I can go. And, uh, not thinking the quickest or the only way out is
Right.
through a man or through, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or selling themselves in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
So I love it. I think so. Looking forward now, how do you see the site growing, and
Mhm.
where do you see it going?
Well, looking forward, I want to. It's I have to do. This is another thing that's been nagging at me. I want to
Mm,
do some outreach work.
mm,
So, I'm seeing the prevalence, the rise of people want to travel now. Like if you see travel noir, people want to go on these travel groups.
mhm,
And I see myself, branching out eventually to do a travel group where people go down to the region. They not only experience the culture, the
mhm.
music, the food, but we're also going to do some,
Do some
we're
good.
also, we're do some good, we'll do some charity
Mhm.
work
Nice.
because it's needed. Like it's not just going to come down here, kick up our feet and enjoy the sun, which is great.
Mhm.
But let's do some work. Let's meet with the locals. Let's find a way to really, again, empower women. So I see myself branching
Nice.
out into that. Um, in the near future, I'm toying with the idea of doing some merch.
Okay.
But it's something that I'm still thinking about because it has to be the right product. Like I don't just want to sell stuff just to sell stuff.
Mm-mm.
It has to be because, I guess everybody's selling something. So it has to
Mhm.
be something that I think is going to be of value, to the readers, as opposed to just, putting something out there just to sell. And I just see myself, I want to work with more writers. So we're always looking for writers. So I see myself building like a strong team of writers. I have a few now, and I'm so happy and grateful to them. They've helped me out so much from last year till now, because of, my busy schedule and, everything. So I see myself just building into a platform, where there's articles coming out from other Caribbean thinkers and other women who also have their brands and stuff, and just contributing to the site and sharing good information. So that's like my immediate thing, is getting the writers together so we can have stuff rolling out.
So before we forget, how would someone submit if they're interested?
Right. So someone's interested, they can submit through the website. So they just go to the Partner Us page on the islandmuse.ca. Just tell us, what they want to do, and email. It'll kick an email to me, and then I usually get back to them, and I'll need to see a few samples of their writing, and then we go from there. So they tell me like what are they like a subject matter expert in, what are they interested in writing in. But the best way to do that is through the Partner with Us page on the website. That's the best way to get in touch with me if you're interested in writing for the site.
Now,
I feel like Kinect's going to have something to say in this, yeah. Because that's usually a kinetic question too. I've been waiting, and I was like, okay, are you there to ask? But yeah, no.
Well, you ladies, you know what? To be honest, I'm kind of taking a back seat because, what is Island Muse is two powerful women on air. I'm just here to compliment and learn. I'm just here to compliment and learn and listen, and But that does touch, and that segues into my next couple questions.
Sure.
We already talked about the merch that you wanted to do and where you're going, so you guys helped me out in that way. Pro Caribbean woman, as you said, platform or magazine, may I dare say.
As in print, you're thinking? Would you ever do that? Or
no.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I'm just talking magazine, online magazine content. I'm just saying as I quotes as an online magazine.
Right.
How do men? Again, this is we've recognized this is about Caribbean women.
Right.
But how do men get involved, or can they get involved and help out, even if it's in the background? What is it that you're looking for, kind of thing? Like, so you pull somebody like me, because you know what, I'm known to promote and
support,
and back women, especially of Caribbean descent. I always try to promote them. How would I get involved with you? Because you know what, it's a passion of mine to see Caribbean women propel and push forward. I support Caribbean women, and and it's kind of like, all right, well, yeah, you're pro woman or pro Caribbean woman magazine or movement, right? Right? Are we banned from you guys? It's like, it's for us, by us only, or
This is so scary, but I haven't thought about the men at all. It's terrible. And there has to be some way that you guys can support us.
Is it by promoting, marketing?
Yeah, I think the best way that men can support Island Muse is by promotion and marketing. So, like on my Facebook, I'll have men that'll read the articles, commenting, sharing stuff. That's the best way I can think of right now. This is such a good question. I have just been going, in my sisterhood thing, and I have not thought about men, at all.
Well, it is a pro woman. It is a pro Caribbean woman movement, and but there are men out there like me that support that, and and we appreciate we actually try to back our women,
Right, and that's true. That's very true. I think promotion, marketing, and technology. Because I'm always looking for just to get the site redone. That was a process of finding.
Why? It looks amazing.
Oh no, before, Lord. Right?
Let me tell you. Finding the right talent to do this people who are like professional, who have good rates, that was really hard. So I find that I'm not the most technologically savvy. So, helping with branding, filming stuff like that, that's how I think men can help.
You guys need to get out of my head, because I was going to ask, is there going to be video content? Like, I mean, I know
Yeah.
that you have some, but it's like what, like
I
things of
have a
that
video
nature.
content. I have a video that I did last year. I did like a chat with a Haitian, a young woman who's of Haitian descent. She has her own platform, and we did that last year, and I want to do more of it. I think it just needs to be tweaked a little bit more. Again, there's just so much noise out there. Sometimes you invest, all these resources, money, time, all this stuff into things, and you find that it didn't really connect. Like, it's not really connecting with people. But I want to do more video content and live streaming, and that's where the men are going to come into play, because I want to bring them to the table to discuss, discuss some issues, relationships, stuff like that. So that's going to be a way that men can support Island Muse through those discussions.
So, guys, just for the record, they're not anti men. It's just pro women.
No, I don't do that. Sometimes I get into my little silo of just women, but no, it's definitely not anti-men. Men are great, they're needed, and that's how they're going to be able to support us, is through when I start doing the more video content.
So, who does islandmuse.ca mainly cater to, the demographics? What kind of topics do you cover? And where are you based? Are you based in Toronto? Or are you based, or mainly like, are you, or not based, I should say? Are you more are you known, like, where's your reach? Are you in the islands more, or are you North American based, like in terms of, like, where's your demographics mainly catered towards?
So the demographics, so we cater to like the 25-year-olds to like 36-year-olds, and these are women that are career women, educated, yada yada yada. Based on when I do look at my stats, my reach is really in the islands in the US. It's always like Barbados, Trinidad, and then the US. So that's where I'm finding I get the most traffic and the most people, like when I do check to see comments and on my social media where people are coming in from, that's my main reach. It's mostly the islands and the US.
And not
what topics do you cover?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, the topics, right. So we cover health. Health and well-being. So we talk about health. So I have two ladies that are, one of them, she has a chronic illness, and she also has a master's in public health. So she's been able to contribute some articles on health and, Caribbean women and the impacts of illness on women and such, and things like that. We also cover we cover some business pieces. So because I realized, okay, I'm featuring women that have their platforms or, are running businesses, brands. Why not put out content that helps women, like, how to run a brand, how to brand your product, how to do things like that. So we also touch on the business aspect of it. I have opinion pieces for women that, have a gripe, have something they want to say, current issues that are, something that's bothering them, and, they want to say it, they want to put it out there and get the word out. So, I have opinion pieces. And then I have a beauty section where I connected with a woman. I think she's based here. She's a vegan. She makes she does a lot of like homemade skincare and stuff like that. And I thought that was important because Caribbean people growing up,
Mm-hmm.
people use stuff from their backyards to do what they have to
Mm.
do, like to wash their hair and to take care of their skin. So when I had her, she's actually based in Barbados. I think she comes up here a few times for the I think there's a Barbados on the water thing that they have at Harborfront every year.
Okay.
So it was great to connect with her
Mm-hmm.
for the beauty topics because she brought back stuff that my grandmother used to use on me when I was, used
Nice.
to go visit her. And I'm like, how did we get away from this to where we're running into Shoppers Drug Mart and, buying all these chemicals
Mm-hmm.
where we know what we need to be using on our skin. So, that's kind of the things that we cover on the site, the health, the lifestyle, fashion to a certain extent, beauty, and then of course the core content is these amazing women, um, and me wanting to just to make sure that I'm getting their story out there and constantly having these images, in front of our women that look at what we're doing. You can do it too. So
Well, I
that's
really I
And
applaud you for this. I think it's amazing, and I I don't think I need to tell you, but keep
oh,
at
thank
it,
you.
keep
I really
pushing.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Just because I think
Yeah,
it's and I know what you said with that balance, the struggle with, just balancing
yeah.
everything else
Hmm.
and content and
It's a struggle.
keeping
Yeah.
it, you know, and like I was saying before with these other sites that basically just repost things that are already created and just out there.
Exactly.
It's easy for them to just, I mean, so their content's so
Keep pumping
fresh
it
and
out.
go, yeah.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I think
Yeah,
people
this is a little
appreciate
bit
being able to,
more.
yeah,
Yeah.
stumble upon something that, actually can grab your attention for other reasons and hold your attention. And I think your site is one of the sites, islandmuse.ca, that can really, people can get lost on. And but
I
then
would
when you
hope
leave
so.
it,
Thank you.
you
Yeah.
don't leave thinking, oh my God, I just wasted like 2 hours of my life or an hour of my life. Like you actually feel inspired and empowered a
That's
little,
what I
or
want.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's working. And I'm sure you know that. But
That's what I
I
want.
think so for people, again, well, I was going to say the great thing about this show, it is available as a podcast. So I hope more and more people hear it. But for
Mhm.
people who may have just tuned in, I think writers are welcome to
Yes. Yes.
reach out to
Yes.
you. And
Yep.
is there any particular areas of interest right now, or is it just um, at this point you're just welcoming anybody who would like to submit, and then you go from there, type of thing?
Right. So at this point, it's just anybody who would like to submit, people who are preferably writers, people who, can write and usually, have their own blog or whatever.
Hmm.
And yeah, just let me know what you're thinking of. Of course, if you check out the site, it has to be something that's relevant to Caribbean women.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not picky in that aspect. Like, if you just shoot me an email, what are you thinking you want to do?
Hmm.
If I think it jives with the website and the mission, then we go from there. If I can, and I have to read a few of your things just to make sure, because I'm so busy, I don't always have time to like, re-edit somebody's work. Sometimes some things need to be rewritten, because not everybody's a strong writer.
Hmm.
So, just if you can send me, a few samples of your writing, and then we go from there. Like I'm laid back in that aspect. Sometimes I wonder if I
Hmm.
have to be more, hard ass. But
Hmm.
I just
I
want the
know.
word out there. I just want Caribbean women who are passionate about making a difference in our
Hmm.
community. I just want them to have the opportunity to say something,
otherwise,
you know? Say something.
Yeah. No, I love that. And what you just said, being laid
art.
back and such a cool person. I think when
Yeah.
I saw Island Muse, like whatever I had seen before meeting you, and I just, and so meeting you and you being approachable and pleasant and a happy
Yeah.
person, like that. No, it I was like, I was so happy the worst thing, is seeing something
Yeah.
so amazing and then meeting the person behind it and then being
Oh,
like,
girl,
oh,
tell me about it.
and
Tell me
struggling
about
with
it.
liking the person or just leaving a bad vibe. And even then, I mean, I've had that happen where people don't
Mhm.
really seem as genuine. They just don't. They're
Oh, we've
pushing
all
all
had
this
that.
greatness and this amazing and this love and unity and all this good stuff, and you
Girl,
meet them
yes.
and they're giving you the side
Mhm.
eye, and you're like, oh, okay, but your site is so different. But even
Right?
still, like if the site or whatever they're pushing still promotes something positive, I'll still separate.
Check on it from
But
time. Exactly.
yeah, but it's still hard. But so I mean, it makes it easier when someone
Yeah.
is an amazing person. So, and like I said, you
Doesn't.
represent your brand very well. Sorry,
Thank
Kinetic,
you.
go ahead. Sounds like you're.
No, I was.
Oh,
No, I was just saying this. You know what? I have one more question, and
yeah.
after
Yeah.
that, I'm gonna become a spectator and let the power
Yeah.
women
Well, I think we're gonna wrap
speak.
just about now anyways. It's about that
Yeah.
time, but go ahead.
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 11 o'clock
So
already.
my last question was basically, are you a daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly, platform? And submission dates, if writers like, what are your submission dates? If writers want to write to you, what typically, what's your
It's a
typical
process or
timeline
oh, yeah.
and publishing date? Yeah,
Right. So
that's about it.
usually when I'm like until we develop a relationship, because most of the women that so I don't really worry. Like they just get their things in on time.
Mhm.
But typically
Well, that's what
submission.
I was asking. Are you quarterly?
No. It's weekly. It can be weekly. Like you could send me
Okay, weekly.
something on
Yeah. Okay.
Monday and it can be up on Thursday. Right. So usually I'll set a date.
Okay.
I'll be like, hey, if you want to, so I'll let women know. I'm like, do you want to submit weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly? Like, let me know. Like I'm very, I'm flexible in that way, because what I find is the women that I collaborate with to do the writing, they also have their platforms.
Yeah.
So it's kind of selfish to be like, I need you to do this weekly and you're not paying people. And then they have, one of them is running a charity, a foundation in Barbados. The other one is, she has a huge platform with her blogging. So I let people know, you let me know weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. And then we just
Mhm.
set a date, say, okay, every week, if you're doing weekly, send it to me by Thursday so that I have time to edit it for posting on Saturday, something like that.
Okay. So it's on
Yeah.
per writer, like you create your own schedule for each
Yeah, I
writer.
mean, I don't know if that's the Caribbean in me, but with like certain things, we
I think
just
it works. Yeah,
it's
that
yeah, I can't, because right now this is
mhm.
just the way it has to work for me.
Mhm.
And you can gauge people who are I just find that I've been able to work with very professional people. So if they're like, if we agreed on Thursday and they know it's not going to work for them because, something's come up or someone's not, they always let me know by Tuesday.
Right.
So I've
Right.
been lucky to attract people who, have that kind of professionalism to them where they, no matter what, they let me know what's going on.
Mhm.
This happened, blah, blah, blah. I'm sending it to you on this date. We just go from there.
Mhm.
So right now it's not like a beat you over the head type of situation, but
Yeah.
it's gonna get there eventually,
Yeah.
because with everything we have to take ourselves seriously,
Mhm.
and it can't be a fly by night thing. But for
No.
now, it's just been women who just love the site, who've emailed me and said, you know what, I saw that you were looking for writers and I really want to be a part of it, and this is what I'm a subject matter expert in, and when you need the articles, okay, here you go.
Mhm.
And we go from there, and it's been a blessing, and just I've learned so much from them, and the audience has learned a lot too, because every time I'm like, damn, I think they enjoy their articles more than mine's. So
Oh, Lord.
that's why I feel like I have some good people on the team, because I see the response and I it's because they're living it every day. They're in the region, they're seeing the nonsense, whatever it might be, so they
Mhm.
can articulate that they wake up to these issues, whatever it might be. So I can understand when they write something, it just connects immediately with the readers and like, yeah, we know exactly what she's talking about. You know, this is my experience and yada, yada, yada. So it makes me feel good that people really enjoy their articles.
Yeah.
And I want to grow the team, you know, to have more people, to give more people a chance to showcase their work. Like I always promote them, you know, if you have, you know, a website or whatever, I always make sure that if you're writing for me, that that's getting, you know, put to the forefront too, that you have your stuff too. Because to me, I don't see it as competition.
Mm-mm.
I just see this as we're both growing. So I'm not afraid to promote your platform on Island Muse, and you know they promote my platform, you know, on their website. So you know it all works out. It all works out.
Definitely. Well, I'm
Mhm.
glad we were able to work this out and have you
I don't even
on.
know what happens.
Yeah,
I'm
no, no,
telling
no,
you,
no.
with
But I mean, just
me,
with
if
your
something's gonna go
scheduling,
wrong, it's gonna go wrong with me. I
it's
don't know what it is.
no, no. But we had a good chat. But I mean, just
We
with
did.
everything that you do, and I mean, you
Yeah.
juggle a few things, and so making the time to be able to, you know, to do this, I
Yeah.
um,
No,
I really
thank you guys
appreciate
for
it.
the
Yeah,
opportunity. Hmm.
and I mean, with every guest that we've had on so far since the new year, and including yourself, I think you guys are all doing such amazing things that I definitely I you know, with who we bring on the show as well, like we both um you know, have to feel like it's a right fit too, and what we're
Right.
pushing, and we have the flexibility of featuring people from you know, doing any like anything. We're not locked
Hmm.
into any one thing, but the one thing though is as long as people are doing something that yeah, either entertains or inspires and or you know, brings awareness to things that we need to have more of in the world. And I think you're definitely doing that with Island Muse. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
we will continue to look out and remind people of the site as well. So
Definitely,
thank you
and
for taking the time.
likewise. Yep.
Yeah, and yeah. So anybody interested in writing, contact.
Yes,
Even if you missed it,
islandmuse.ca.
yes, definitely. And all the
Yeah,
contact information is there. It's a very
exactly.
beautiful, clear, easy to maneuver through site. So you shouldn't have
Mhm.
a problem. And
Mhm.
yeah. So thanks again, Kinetic.
Or a
Yeah,
spectator.
no,
Yeah,
it was
you
incredible.
did.
He's like, I'm on
Yeah,
mute.
not to
No.
yeah, no. I should have honestly. I feel that I should have just tuned in on the show and let Kirsty handle this one for some reason.
No, are
Like,
you
Oh,
kidding
sure.
me?
got it, but no, but I love the idea. I love the idea of you guys talking. That's why I said I just
No,
don't take it
I
as
think it's
a
amazing. I would have never asked that
I just
question about the
yeah.
men.
Me either, because they didn't even
You-
cross my mind.
Oh my goodness. But I think it's important. So no.
No, that was a
Yeah,
that it
that's
made me
a
think. I'm
show.
like, damn, Island Muse is polarizing. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So, but
But
you know, I
yeah.
feel like Caribbean men get their
No, but
shine in
I
Island Muse.
love yeah. I love what you're doing. To be honest, like as a man, it's very heartening to see that you are like there's women, especially Caribbean women,
Mhm.
gunning for other Caribbean women. Because I
Right.
always
Mhm.
find, to be honest, I feel your struggle because I always feel that especially our Caribbean women are alone. Like it's like no matter like as much as you promote them, it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like they're getting that much farther, or further, sorry, farther, but further.
Right.
Um, right? And it's like, it's just it's kind of like what I kind of sympathize, or I feel your pain in terms of growth, or seeing that like as you said with likes, but people are seeing it but they're not liking the content, and it makes you
Right.
think, hey, and and that's what actually made me really start. Believe it or not, it was the likes. It was like I see women post stuff, especially our own women posting stuff, and they get like 2 likes or 3 likes, but post something in the beginning, they get 1,000.
Mhm.
Exactly. That's this crazy world we're living in now. And that's
Mhm.
what makes it kind of hard
Yeah.
for me sometimes, because I see with our community, we like to see the naked people. in the, the costumes or whatever it might be. So, it's another, again, I have to stay on, stay on with what my brand
Diligent.
is.
Yeah.
So, and the
Stay
same way I
diligent.
could see what our people usually like to gravitate to, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, keep doing your thing.
And it's so true,
It's
especially in Toronto. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know.
it's
We didn't
just
even touch on that because I started, but
touch
something
on
stopped
what?
me.
Touch
No,
on what?
no, just the support or a lack of
Oh,
here
Yeah.
in Toronto. And I mean, you kind of touched on it to say that
yeah,
more, just people who seem to view and visit the site and are based in the Caribbean or the
yeah,
U.S.
that's where, yeah,
Yeah. And so it's a
yeah,
You know
for
what?
thing.
me,
Nobody wants to jump onto something
no, not
unless you
here.
are, you know what? Unless you're a celebrity. Like, it's like when you come in as an import, even though you're
Right.
domestic, you come in as an import, everyone wants to promote you. Or even people, your own people. Like, it's really funny. Like, I was having this conversation, and I'm not, I don't give to get kind of thing. But you know
Right.
what? It's really funny that I was speaking to a friend of mine, and discussion that we are having was this: it was that it was basically verbatim was the amount of people that you've supported or you pushed their stuff, all the promoters, jams that you promote, all the
Right.
women businesses and stuff, anything. Out of all the shows, nobody has ever promoted your show that I've seen. I was like, it dawned on me,
Wow,
it was like,
see?
yeah, you know what? Like, not one woman or one guy or any
Right.
promoter has
Mhm.
ever, like, what, I've just taken upon myself to promote their stuff, has ever said, you know what? Matt Kinetic promoted me. Let me push out his show, or let me,
Mhm.
push out this is what
Right.
he's doing. And it never dawned on me because I'm not that type of person that
Yeah,
I
you don't,
really
you're like
rely
me.
on or feel like
Right.
I feel like I just
Yeah.
you know what I'm self-efficient, so I don't really
Right. You're just
look at
going.
that. But it dawned on me. It was like, yeah, like, you know what? How
Yeah.
selfish Toronto is.
That's how
Mhm.
it is.
You
And you know what?
promote
I had
them,
to
you
come to
promote them
that
multiple
conclusion.
times, and nobody. Yeah, sorry. Huh?
Yeah. When I came to, when I just
Yes.
finally accepted it for what it is,
Mhm.
it's like a burden off my shoulders. 'Cause I just do my thing, and that's that. And whoever I work with who my supporters are. So if that's the Caribbean and the US, then that's where I go. I've stopped trying to, grab the attention of people in Toronto. I do have my supporters here, and
Mhm.
even though it's a small, group, I just cater to them, and I just keep doing it. Like, I can't. I think that's the best advice I would give to somebody who's trying to do
Mhm.
anything in the city. And I'm sure they already know that, because, when you do start doing something in Toronto, you can feel it. You just see how things go.
Mhm.
Um, just keep going no matter what. Go where you're celebrated, not
It's
tolerated.
funny,
Mm. That's
really
a good
That's
funny
one.
it.
though.
That's a
That
good one.
yeah, I would say that they say if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. But no, if you can make it in Toronto, you really
It's
can make it
true.
anywhere.
It's true. Because they would not
You know,
support you really
because
until you
at least
blow
at
up.
least the states support you. Yeah,
Yeah,
like if you're having selling a mixtape,
that's true.
you try, you have to give it away here, and they might not even take it.
It's true
Oh,
though.
Lord.
It's true, because I see, like, when I do get my little DMs, it's usually like American women, like, oh gosh, I
Mhm.
love the site, but here you got to really tear down walls, and if they know you,
Mhm.
they'll support you and blah blah blah. But other than that, ain't nobody got time for you. You just got to keep
That's the whole
pushing and
thing. It's not
pushing.
even your own peoples. Your own peoples don't even support you. They'll be there, be quick when you bust, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I
Oh,
was there from the beginning," and you know what I mean, like,
It's so
I
sad
knew
though.
her
I mean,
when,
yeah, we can
and yeah, and
no, we can laugh about it. I think
but
it's so sad. And I think if you, like you said, if it's someone meets you and you know the person or they're going to support you,
then they're gonna
um,
start. Yeah,
then they'll do, one, two,
yeah,
whatever, or you
yeah.
know what I mean? But I
Mm-hmm.
think, you know, being able to separate the product, the service, the brand from an individual, and just looking at it for what it is,
Yeah.
and just if you see something you love it, just who cares
No,
who's behind it?
you're
And
waiting for that here. You'll be waiting for. I find with me, because I'm more of like a
sad.
reserved, laid back person observer.
Yes,
Sometimes
yes.
when I do go to things, events, I don't know, people are expecting this grandiose vlogger personality,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, so it's like it's a constant. Like, am I supposed to be loud, like prancing around? Like,
Mm,
what? Is that what people like? Is that what's going to bring people into the brand? You don't
mhm,
know. So
mhm,
that's why I just
mm-mm.
continue to be myself. And
That's it. That's the only, it's all you can be. And I think,
mhm,
I mean, it's been a couple years since I met you, right? And
yeah,
you left a very, like, uh, just the perfect impression on me. So I'm like,
thank you.
girl,
And
don't
that's
be switching
yeah,
up and trying to
yeah,
whatever.
girl, no, girl,
You
half the
know?
time I'm in my place doing my
Hmm.
thing. I can't even with the scene. I can't.
Hmm.
I can't even. And I
But you know
always
what I
want people to
hear?
feel
You know what I
welcome.
But you
Yeah.
hear?
what I hear developing, guys, is a women's summit, a pro Caribbean women's summit, and
Oh my
islandmuse.ca.
God, that would be amazing. I'd love to
Hmm.
see something with Kirsty because she's such a sweetheart.
Aw.
Yeah, you know
No,
what?
I didn't
I
think about with
I
me.
hear this
I think you
coming,
were saying just with islandmuse.ca. But
and I said
Connecticut,
to
I would be involved. I would
St.
be
Kirsty
Kitts
involved.
and
someday.
islandmuse.ca. I hear this summit. I hear a pro Caribbean summit, women
Yes,
empowerment summit coming between you two in
Mm,
2018.
it's needed, and somewhere where we can just people can be themselves. I would hope, and
yeah.
people would just not stop the madness.
Listen,
Just
anything
come,
you do,
be
I will
yourself.
support. Honest,
Thank
honest.
you.
So yeah, for sure.
Definitely, I'll keep you guys posted on
Yes, of
what's
course.
happening with me for sure.
Can you
And
imagine she,
yeah, I'm gonna keep it. With the new algorithm on Instagram, like if you don't interact with somebody,
yeah, you
you
lose
just it's like you don't even have them as
contact.
a friend.
Exactly. I hate it. I'm like, ugh,
I was like,
Facebook.
what? So then when I went on your Instagram, and I was
Yeah,
like, oh my God, look at how many amazing people you guys have been interviewed. So I started
right.
like listening to some stuff. I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness. And we were following
same.
each other, and I didn't
Yeah,
see
and same.
any of
And
that.
yeah, it's crazy. So
I'm gonna have to keep
we
in
gotta
touch.
be up on it. Exactly. But we
Yes,
will moving
definitely. I'll be
forward.
promoting it for
For sure,
sure.
for sure. Okay. Well, and
Yes. Well, thank
we'll end
you.
it on that note because we're talking about possible future um and keeping in touch. So we'll do this in real life, and
We
again with
will.
Cake with Kirsty, I'm sure you'll be back on. Hopefully you'll make time to
Yeah,
give
for
us come
sure.
back with some updates or some other
Definitely.
amazing things you're working on, especially if you get that travel group up and going. So we'll
Yes,
talk about
it's
that.
another thing that I won't sleep
Mm,
until
you get it going.
that's done.
Oh,
So
that'll be
yeah,
amazing to hear about.
that's
So
awesome.
thanks
Thank you guys
again.
so much.
And
Yes.
yeah, we'll be in touch for sure. So again, people, islandmuse.ca is the site. And
Yes,
how do
follow us
people
on
follow you
Instagram.
on, yeah, on Instagram? It's
So yeah,
island
island
underscore.
underscore muse on
Yes.
Instagram, and then we're on Facebook. Just type in Island Muse. You'll see our community, and I like my little Facebook community. I'm sharing, articles
Mhm,
that have to do with us and what's happening around the region, and I think people really appreciate it.
mhm,
So you can find us on Facebook, mostly on Facebook, Instagram, and then of course you can check our website,
for sure.
islandmuse.ca.
Yeah. And remember, people, if you missed the show or most of it, portions of it, you can catch it as a podcast on most of the podcast players tomorrow. It should be up and available on TuneIn Radio, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Hangouts, YouTube, of course. Or Google Play Music, sorry. And vexradio.com. Always, you can find all of the shows, the links there as well. And you can send a shout out and request your favorite song or send a shout out with your favorite song to someone, anyone in the whole wide world. Wide world. You know, I always mess up when I say that. But anyway, anywhere anyone is. I was telling you earlier that I was in Jamaica, and I think I've said this already, and
Yeah.
you know, love the radio there and everything like that, but sometimes you just want to hear a different flavor. And so there was a night playing it, and I was like, okay, you know, you get a little homesick sometimes, and it was like nice to just like tune in and know that you're connected to your peoples. So yeah,
Right.
but the number to do that, either a shout out or a request, is 1-877-469-3016. Again, 877-469-3016. You can call that number from anywhere in North America, at least. Try it anywhere else and let me know if it works. And yeah, send a shout out. You choose option 1 for a shout out, option 2 to put a song request in. And catch me on Instagram. Cake with Kelsey is the handle. Same for Facebook and Twitter. And Kinetic, remind the people where you at.
Yeah, iKinetic100 Instagram is probably the best way to get me.
There you go. He posts some good stuff, so follow. Until next time, people.
All right.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you so much for coming. Peace.
Yes, thank you both.